Hello and welcome back to another podcast with Jesse and Cade. We're here to recap the last series between the Twins and Tigers, talk about the Mets Twins series coming up, and then everything in between. The Twins record right now, 5-11, 3-7 in their last 10. The starting pitching ranks 20th in ERA. The bullpen ranks 6th. Overall, there are some good things, and there are a lot of bad things. Um, Throughout the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, as I said, lose to a 7-6 loss on Friday, 4-0 loss on Saturday, and a 5-1 win on Sunday. We're going to go back and forth between Cade and I here discussing our favorite things and our least favorite things. We'll have Cade start us off. What is your favorite thing about the Twins this far into the season and of the series?
I don't know about season, but the last series, it was actually good to actually have our starting pitchers give us an opportunity to actually stay in the game early. Festa threw 4 2/3, giving up 1 run. Paddock gave five innings, 2 runs, and then Simeon Wood Richardson gave us 5 innings and 1 run. So that was kind of nice to have at least our starting pitchers not blow in the second or third inning and the doors kind of wide open. Um, we didn't take advantage of some of those games, but again, if that's a 3 game series and you give up, 5 runs between your starters, I'm going to be very happy with that.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was nice seeing Festa out there, and Festa was dealing compared to the spring. It goes back to that narrative of spring pitching can't carry over into the regular season. I think there was one year when I was younger, I was really excited about Mike Pelfrey because of a really good spring that he had. For me personally, my favorite thing from the weekend is Brooks Lee is finally here. Uh, Overall, it's nice seeing somebody that can play third base, can play second base. Even if Brooks Lee bats 200, I'm fine. I'm fine with it for now because his glove is solid. He's got a decent arm, and he's also a switch hitter, which Rocco loves. So he'll hopefully stay in the lineup. What's your thoughts on Brooks Lee being here?
Well, it was just perfect fashion. First at bat of the season comes in, hits an RBI, two hopper, seeing eye grounder through the middle, but he did something that we looked like a lot of our players were missing. It was a two, you know, guy on second, runner in scoring position, get Wood on the ball and get it through the infield. The swing wasn't pretty, but he stayed into it and got a barrel on bat. And for a lot of times, we've been missing that all season. So, I mean, with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, our approach never changed with anyone else. And he actually looked like a major leaguer with a plan.
Yeah, it's nice to see. Overall, you and I were talking before we hit record on this episode that it would be nice to see a lot of the Twins prospects, even up here in AAA in St. Paul. Most recently, Walker Jenkins put on the IL this weekend for a nagging ankle injury. Overall, this seems like more of a trend, don't you think, of injured prospects?
Yeah, he's injured, and then we had another one also go out. Emmanuel Rodriguez has been kind of off and on with AAA already so far.
Hmm.
Um, when you have a top 5 prospect in the whole MLB, is what MLB.com has him ranked as number 3. Usually, there's a lot of talk. There's the fans are excited, the announcers are bringing up their name, and Walker can't stay on the field, and that really is like hurting us with excitement for the future, I think. And it's same with Emmanuel Rodriguez can't stay on the field. So it just kind of hurts. I don't know what's in the water and wherever we're doing our minor league games and practices, but it's definitely can't be just a fluke or a random occurrence when it happens every year to at least 2 prospects.
Yeah, it it seems like it happens every season. Royce Lewis slips on ice in Texas and tears his ACL, then tears his other ACL the second year after recovering from it. Buxton's been in and out for, I mean, that's a tale as old as can be. Alex Kirilloff had to retire because his wrist was so bad. Brooks Lee has a chronic back. Now, Walker Jenkins was injured last year. He's injured this year. And speaking of excitement, bringing excitement to the team, There's no excitement here in Minnesota right now for the Twins. They drew the third lowest attendance in Target Field history on Friday night to start off a weekend series. And then on Statue Day for Joe Mauer, they only drew 16,000. It's not looking good for the team overall, and I think the fans are speaking to the team in many ways, saying, do something different. I don't want to say that people here are fair weather fans because I don't believe they are. I feel like it's expensive to go to a ball game for one, especially if you have a family and you have kids. Kids want to eat the nachos. They want to have the ice cream. They want the hot dog. Parking's expensive. And when you're not putting a good product on the field, why would anybody go? Carlos Correa, I'm pretty sure, maybe you can, follow up on this with me, was told when he signed, and of course we weren't in the room, nobody was except for the people that were there, that the Twins were going to spend some money. And it doesn't mean that they're going to be a $250 million roster, but at least go to 160 or 170. Do something this year. I know you're selling the team and I know you're 500 million in debt, but do something this year. Something. We were just talking beforehand. We're actually going to see him on Monday. It would have been cool just to even see Clay Holmes come here and try to, be a starting pitcher. Clay Holmes was really good with New York for a long time. He has a really nice cutter, really nice two-seamer. Both work in the opposite direction with like the same amount of movement on each side. Overall, I just feel like this far into the season has been a complete disappointment.
Yeah, I agree. And kind of what we said off air, talking about the Twins and watching it on TV. I think the whole way they're going about it is a lot of the reason why. Last year you couldn't watch them when we were hot, and then when we were not hot, when you could actually watch them a little bit more, and no one wanted to watch a team that was basically a 300 win percentage team at the end. And then this year they do the $100 package, and you're not going to get a lot of the average baseball people who don't watch the Twins every game to spend $100 to watch to watch one team. And it's not even all the games. I know Friday you couldn't watch it even with the $100 unless you had Apple TV.
Right, right.
So it's like, well, for average, like for fans, sure, I'll pay the $100. I bought the whole package. I watch every game, but a lot of people aren't going to buy that.
No.
It's just not going to happen. They're going to look at it not as $100 for 162 games. They're just going to see 99.99 and they go, oh, no, I'm not buying that for a team that didn't do anything in the offseason. Like they're not going to spend more money when the team spent less money, and they want you now to basically spend more to watch them play. That's not and then maybe in a big market, maybe your LA, your New York teams, Chicago, sure, maybe you can get more people to do it so it equals out. But when you're not a big market team, it's going to be harder to do.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right. Least favorite thing from the weekend. And also, I guess you could include it into the whole entire season. There's quite a few, so pick one.
Ooh, it's gonna be between defense again and coaching decisions with the pitching staff, but I'll go coaching decision with the pitching staff. Again, we talked about it last episode. Our bullpen arm has been used a lot. And you go into it, Festa went 4 2/3. I get it, it's his first start. He kind of got into a little hiccup area in the fifth. So, okay, if you didn't want to get him out of there so that way he, keeps his confidence high, you might need him for a couple more games. That's fine. Paddock gave us 5 innings, 94 pitches. Okay, but then you go into Samuel Richardson, who had 5 innings of good baseball, gave up 5 hits, 1 earned, 5 strikeouts, and he had 78 pitches. Like, even if he goes out in the 6th, doesn't maybe have it, it's a 20-pitch inning, but he can get out of it. Well, okay, he's now still under 100 pitches, and we saved our one more arm that we can use another day. So that's just what I would go with. Our bullpen looked good in the games that they actually mattered. I know we threw our back half or our front half of our bullpen on a couple of games. Funderburk, whatever. Thank you for your one appearance.
You're too earned. Thank you.
You can leave.
Uh,
And
yeah.
then Chris Blewett and stuff like that. So like that's I get that, but like then game three, their back half looked good again. So it's good to see that. But just we just need more pitches out of our starters just to save up for the whole rest of the year.
Scott Blewett. Put some respect on that name.
He has to earn it.
No, I agree with you. In a lot of different ways. Speaking of pitchers being five and fly guys, it seems like the theme to the season thus far. I I don't have a number in front of me. However, I believe the starters have only gone 6 innings maybe twice so far this season. One time being Pablo, one time being Joe Ryan when he had that 7 inning start, which I think at that time still only he only had like 85 pitches. He could have done an eighth inning. Again, you're taxing the bullpen so early in the season, and every win does matter right now, especially when you're 6 games under 500. Even to play 500 baseball for the next month, you're still going to be under 500. You have to play at a rate about 55, 56% just to get back to 500. And it seems like to me, and I know there's extra wild card spots, seems like to me that the Tigers are going to be damn good this season.
Yeah.
And the Guardians are always good. And the Royals have Bobby Witt Jr. So are we going to be competing with the White Sox for last, a higher draft pick? Maybe. But it's important. So my least favorite thing. My least favorite thing thus far this season is the fielding. We've talked about it ad nauseum to this point. Of the 16 games they've played so far this season, there's only been 3 games where they have committed less errors than their opponent, which is sad. And I'm even going to kind of cross over into the base running. The base running is atrocious. I said it, during the Royals series. Vasquez got picked off at second base. And then this weekend, we all saw it on X. Miranda sliding into second base. The umpire clearly calls it safe, and then he runs off and gets tagged. Like that can't happen. It just can't. That's Little League stuff. I think it was appropriate to send him down. I talked with Kate a little bit about maybe issuing a little bit of an apology to Edward Julian. I'm not completely there yet, but it might happen. Overall, least favorite things though, it's been rough. What do you have for this week against the Mets? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. What do you got?
Well, tonight's going to be the matchup to watch. Joe Ryan, Clay Holmes. Um, Holmes, his first start kind of was an interesting. His second start, you can kind of tell his mentality is going to have to change from being a bullpen to a starter, just with pitch sequence and pitch, kind of building off because you're going to have to face these guys 2 or 3 times. Whereas a starter, you can just, or a closer, you can just pitch him. You're going to see him one time and you're done. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can get it down and understand it and get through 5 innings. He could be a good starter. And then Joe Ryan, obviously, is Joe Ryan. He's your ace. Um,
Mine.
but in a sense, we know the Mets as this. Well, they're a favorite. They're a good offensive team. But our offense, I think, should be able to get to their starters that we're facing.
Yeah.
Clay Holmes has a 4.5 ERA. McGill has a point. It's like 6.8.
Yeah.
So that might be a tough one. But then we go and face Canning, and he's got a 4.2. So we have a chance to actually get, if we can have our offense stay with them. Do I think we can win the series? No. But it would be nice to actually build off of a good win and maybe just play competitive baseball for 3 games. If we go lose 4-5, 1-2, okay, cool. Play good, sound defense.
Yeah.
Spread some hits around. Like that's more important, I think, for this next upcoming series than just totally looking at the wins losses. Because we're probably going to lose at least 2 games. Maybe we can keep it hot, but I think this is just kind of needs to be a reset for a team. Play competitive baseball, get a day off, and then go into the Atlanta series, kind of refresh and maybe a little reset.
to your point, win the game and then play competitive baseball going forward. Yeah, tonight, come out swinging. And after that, you got Miguel, who's pretty dang good, but then you got Canning on Wednesday. Steal one, and it's sad that we have to say steal one when Joe Ryan's on the mound. But this is a really good opportunity with Ryan coming off a really good start to go out there and put up some zeros on the scoreboard. And maybe the offense can put together 5 runs, get you a win, and then all of a sudden you got 2 more games, split them, go 2 for 3. And then also to your point, the fundamentals of the game. Don't be getting picked off at second base if you're a catcher. Don't, you know, if the umpire calls you safe, stay on the base. I mean, it couldn't have been too loud at Target Field either because again, there's like 13,000 people there. So yeah, honestly, my outlook, positive Jesse coming through here. I think we're taking 2 or 3 this week. I do. Against the 10-5 Mets. You heard it here first. I think they're gonna do it. Um, I I'm way high on Brooksley. I've been high on Brooksley since the Twins drafted him. He's not one player doesn't make all the difference, but when fundamentals lack so much, and it seems like this team could be 500 if the fundamentals were more sound. I think they're going to take 2 or 3 this week. I do. I feel good about it. Coming up here, we're going to be doing a podcast again after the Mets series, a kind of review on that. One more thing that I wanted to talk about with you before we get off today, and maybe throw out some credit where credit is due. Louis Varland looks really good in the bullpen. We were talking maybe he's like the fourth or fifth option in the bullpen, but to have that depth is awesome. And it goes back to your least favorite thing being the managing of the pitching. Why doesn't Louis go out there for a second or third inning? I push back on that a little bit because I only need to see Louis for 1 inning. I saw Louis for more than 1 inning for a few years. And I don't personally need to see it. Maybe what the Twins could do, and this isn't going to happen, but let's say they do go on a run in August, September. You talk about those mop-up guys that could eat up 2 or 3. Maybe Festa is your 2 or 3 inning guy. Maybe Paddock is your 2 or 3 inning guy if Zebby Matthews comes up and is shoved. So, what's your total outlook on Louis Varland?
Like I said, when I say he wants to come in and get 2 or 3, I mean just like maybe a second inning. Don't see the lineup twice because that is where his numbers kind of got inflated over the years.
Yeah.
But again, like this, we could have had there was 2 chances. I mean, it's the Simeon Woods Richardson game. He came in, shoved 1 inning, looked good. Well, we need to save our arms. Cole Sands, Jax, and Duran have pitched a decent amount this early. Go ahead and throw him again. Throw him another inning. Have Cole Sands ready. Cole Sands came in with the bases loaded already this year and got out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you have guys that if a guy's on second base and you have a 3-run lead, then you can throw him in. But to save arms, why do you need to go every single time? Cole Sands, Griffin Jax, Yohan Duran.
Yeah.
And every time we have a win. If you're clearly in on him, if you're having him go from a starting pitcher to a bullpen guy, he's been here all season. There's no talks of him moving up or down. There has to be someone in your bullpen that can eat up 2 innings.
Something to
I know we have Blewett
Go
and
ahead.
McConaughey, but I just don't want them more than I have to.
Yeah. Something to watch tonight also. Duran pitched the last 2 nights. So expect Griffin Jacks to close tonight. I don't know if Duran necessarily needed to pitch in the 4-0 game on Saturday night, but maybe as this team continues to flounder throughout the season, the Twins start using Duran in a different role because there might not be as many save opportunities. Maybe it's time for Duran to start coming in the 6th inning when the team is up 2-1. Then just wait till the 9th. I think the Brewers did that with Josh Hader a few years ago, and it actually did work. So, yeah, I think overall the team is going to take 2 or 3 this week. So,
Well, hopefully Byron Buxton stays hot.
yeah, that helps.
That I know I've kind of dogged on him before in the past, usually just because he can't stay healthy. But again, out of a 3-game series, he had 5 error runs.
Hmm.
I mean, we had 11 runs scored, he had five. So
That's big.
when he's on the base pass, clearly he's a productive, base runner and very electric. So it is good to see him swinging the bat hot again and just being aggressive again on the base paths.
And it's fun to see a left fielder that can go and get a ball, and Harrison Bader too. So
Yeah.
the outfield has been fun this year. That might be another favorite thing of mine, actually. Wallner's
Yep.
great and right. So you're right about that. If Buxton can stay hot, Ty France continues to be Ty France, as odd as that is to say. Um, they're taking 2 or 3 this week. You're saying they're gonna lose 2 or 3?
Yeah, I'll go with the 2 and 3 or 1 and 3. They'll win.
Okay.
They'll
Okay.
scrap together one win. Every single series, they have one game that they put together and it looks like a complete game. It looks amazing. So they'll have one of those. I don't know when it is, but there's usually one every three
Yeah.
game series. They look
Yeah.
competitive.
You're right. You're right. All right, great. Well, if you have nothing else to add, go ahead, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts. Next episode, Cade and I, we're going to be diving a little bit deeper, maybe into the farm system. We'll still recap that Mets series, but we're also going to talk MLB draft coming up in June. It's fun. It's a fun time to be a deep MLB fan right now. So thank you again. We'll talk to you soon.